Warning, this video is only for 14 and up, and if you're under, please leave this video, because I will not be accused of something I don't want to be accused of. Please, if you're under, leave the video. Stories go through the air. You can listen and you cannot. But stories are here to help. Understand what is right and what is wrong. But sometimes stories can do the opposite. There's no right or wrong. You have to form your own opinion. But that is not what you're here for. You're here to listen to this silly little god of this channel. Listens to his mind going on about his stories, about the different worlds where he's traveling to, and where he can make some small different in a timeline. Welcome to the Blue Mask What If channel. Hello everyone, this is Blue Mask and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys will enjoy. Let's begin. Hello everyone, this is Blue Mask and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed my, last video I posted, and oh my fucking god. I expected you guys to get it around like 12 views, then I would have posted it. 47 for right now when I'm recording this views that got. Holy shit. I didn't expect this. It was maybe only gonna be a one-off. If 12 people liked it and watched it, I probably made a part 2. But fucking almost at 50 views. I'm surprised you guys got that video that far along. So yeah, I'm gonna make this a series. So welcome back to part 2 of What If Cranel was a Sheikah. Now, a few things before we start. I will change the timeline a little. I probably said that Bell found a horse a year before he left. It's his big ass the Ganon horse in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But I will make something different. Bell left after a month after an incident in Hyrule. He left afterwards. A month after that incident, he left to find Hylia. So it's been 2 years and 1 month since Bell left Hyrule. He is... I think I didn't mention his age. He's around 15 to 16 years old. So maybe a year or a couple of months younger than Eyes is. So yeah, he's younger than Eyes, but still has a lot of experience. So yeah, it's been 2 years and a month since 2 years since Bell have left, months after the incident, then he left. So yeah, that's mostly it what I will change. And I didn't know what to call the princess. Well, what the princess Bell protected. So, going off a famous VTuber that has a C name, Sen. Her name is Sen. Or the nickname is Sen. Bell will not say the full name because it's fucking long. You could probably guess who I'm talking about in the comments, so please do that. So yeah, Bell is right now in Aurario in Astrius's old house, checking around the rooms when Hestia and Freya is down below, well, talking to each other. So we will continue from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little intro and a little more information. So yeah, let's begin this story. But after Belle left, he went upstairs to check out the rooms of this new familiar home. He walks up the stairs to check out some of the old, things that was up there, if there even were. So he went upstairs and... Sorry. He went upstairs to check out the rooms, like I said. The first room he checked out was a kind of Eastern vibe, as he could tell, like his village back home in Hyrule. He went inside to check out the rooms, finding out that it was one of the older members named... shoot, I forgot her name. If you know, it's the Eastern woman. She checked out. Well, Belle checked it out and finding that some of the clothes were still there. Belle closed it and walked into another one, finding some old tools putting neatly on a table. Checking out, it was the problem of the familiar's room. He checked out every single one of them, finding out who was who and which one. Belle walked over to another door down the hallway that looks like it opened up to a bigger room. Walking in, he spotted that this room was mostly cleared out. Nothing of old clothes or items was in there. It was a room that was cleaned out. Belle walked in to check out it even more, but realized this must be Astria's old room. Goddess Astrius. Astrians. You know what I mean. The two names sounds familiar, that's why I kind of mixed them up by accident. Astrius. Astrian. Sorry. Belle checked the rooms out and walks around even more. Checked out a few other rooms that he saw was kind of a community, into a kind of bigger room where everyone else could hang out, not down below in the common room. He looked around and still saw that this one was also cleared out. Belle walked back out and walked down below and checked out the kitchen to see what was there, finding out that was no food or no nothing. Belle looked around in confusion to see what else that was in the room, finding pots, pans, and some forks, knives, and spoons. And a spork? He picked it up and looked at it and just... Someone would have made this a weapon, I fucking know it. He put it down and walked away from the kitchen, walking into, the laundry room, where he could see that the old familiar home, could clean out, clothes, or anything else. Walking over to the stairs, he sees a door down to a basement and walks down. By the way, this is not a one-to-one accurate. Fuck. This is not a one-to-one accurate. Fuck. Can't say it on the floor. Sorry, I was laying down on the floor for a moment. accurate. I hope that was more correct. 1-to-1 scale of the Astria's familiar home. It was the flower or what it was a flower kind of flower garden Stardust Mansion. He checked out the basement and saw there was some few things that was, well, still there. But most of it was just old bags where food can go in, and some few empty bottles that doesn't have wine or drinks or any other stuff inside of it. So Belle put it just back. There's nothing much, but that would be expected. Belle walks upstairs and walks into the living room area where Freya and Hylia were still having their talk. When Freya was about to bring up something when she looked at him. Oh. Hylia looked at Belle and smiled. Have you checked out the house? Yes. There's still some few items that hasn't been removed. But I think I wouldn't do that. That sounds like a great idea. Belle nodded at this when Freya said, I didn't have the heart to remove any of the items from the rooms. Belle looked at her and she said, one of the old familiar members, the one that survived, her name is Ryu. She works at a pub that my second identity works at. I was asked to check on her and everything else by Astrius when she left. I did, and I didn't have the heart to remove any of the items. I think that would have made her sad, so I didn't. Yes, that would be understandable why. Belle thought of some things, but decided not to do anything about it before getting permission from this Ryu. Anyways, Belle turned to Hestia and said, there's not any food in the house, so tonight we have to eat out. But I don't have any valets on me quite yet. Right, don't have any food. Well, I could put a status on you now. Oh wait. Freya looked at Hylia with confusion on her face. Damn it, how? I've never put a status on. I was told by a Hephaestus, but it's kind of blurring right now. What do you mean you haven't put a Falna before? Hylia looked confused at Freya. What do you mean? Hylia, you put a blessing on your husband, didn't you? Did I? Yes. In one battle, you blessed your husband. No, that was just for health. That was not a Falna. That was the first ever Fulna given to anyone. Hylia. That created the Fulna for everyone else. It did. That is very surprising. Hylia said as she looked at Freya, but I still don't know everything about the Fulna. Freya smiled and explained how to do it. After some few moments, Freya left the living room and went outside the door when Bell kneeled on his knees to his back towards Hylia, removing his combat outfit. After removing and after Hylia spotted all the scars, asked which one he got and how. How and why he got them. He told some of the stories. Some of them was accidentally cutting from training. Some of them was a fight with monsters or the old Yiga clan. They were still around in the depths and on the surface, but few in numbers at this point. It's just psychopaths Yigas now that's down in the depths. Master Koga was captured many years ago, and he died in prison by natural causes. That was no problem. But Bell still told every single story about his scars. Hestia, yeah, I can call her Hestia, and Hylia. Hylia put her blessing on Bell and watched as her symbol appeared. Now, with Hestia's blessing, it's mostly a hearth covered in flame that's in original canon. But when Hylia put her blessing on Bell, a statue of Hylia appeared on his back with a hearth in front, with status in the flame and on the wings behind and the sides of Bell. Bell felt the power increased and gasped at this. This was incredible and stuff. This feels odd and terrifying. That can be a blessing, yes. Bell put back on his combat outfit and stood up, moving around a little faster and quicker. Freya appeared from the door and spoke. Now, I must be sorry, but I have to leave. I have been enough here, and I think my familia members is gonna worry if I don't come back. Before Freya left, Bell asked a question. I don't need to intrude, Goddess Freya, but do you think the guild could help transferring rupees to Valis? Rupees? Oh, the money of Hyrule. Yes, a old time ago, Hyrule did exchange goods with Orario, but after the calamity happened, the trade stopped and no more, rupees came to Orario. But I still think they have the exchange from Valis to rupees, rupees to Valis at the guild. Sorry. Alright, that sounds great. But I do recommend putting on some more than your outfit. Belle looked down at its outfit and just said, It's my Sheikah gear? I'm not understanding. Yes, very. Freya looked down and up at Belle. Tight gear. After some few seconds, Belle recognized. Oh, it's... got it. Belle went over to where the packs of Belle's items he brought with him and Hylia's old items. Grabbing his, a bag, he went towards the bathroom and changed inside, walking out in... Give me a second. Belle walks out in this outfit. Now, he doesn't have the glasses, but that's how Belle looks. After walking out, and since Freya was still there, talking about the old exchange of what she knows, both of them looked at him with surprise in their eyes. That is quite unique. How so? Belle looked at himself and just looked confused. It's normal civilian clothes for a Sheikah. You don't have other outfits? I mean, I have spy outfits, but they're not supposed to be comfortable. This is the only comfortable thing I have. Hylia looked at Belle and just sighed. I should get him shopping. Maybe. Belle just looked at them with a confusion look. I don't need outfits. I'm so confused. Well, anyways. Freya said her goodbyes to Hylia and Belle and left the Stardust Mansion. Hylia, after Freya left, informed them they are going to, a bar that the personal, Freya's secret identity, or second identity, Seer, works at. Maybe they could catch the elf. So Belle could probably get the letter. When Belle looked at her in confusion, I saw the other letter on you. The letter with the green mark? That is for Astria's last member. Belle nodded and looked at, took a look at the letter. It is. She told me to find her, and yeah, it's better to do that. After some few moments of Belle and Hestia walking out and getting ready, Hylia hiding her wings. By the way, Hylia hiding her wings behind her veil. Both of them walked over to the guild, and the same woman that Belle met a few hours earlier saw them come in, with her being surprised at Belle's outfit change. After walking up and saying that they need some help with some things, both of them were slid into a private room by Aina and her friend Misha, I think. So, what do you need help with? Well, dear child, I need help with register a second name of mine. A second name? Yes. My real name is Hylia, but I also go by Hestia. Hestia. I have a bank account, but it's not quite big. I think it's only have 1,000 valis. I was quite poor. I was quite poor, so I don't have a lot of money in it. Misha, do you mind? Misha nodded and went outside and came back after 10 minutes of finding Hestia's file. After showing the picture of Hestia and then Hylia, the only thing they could recognize was Hylia's face. It looks more like Hestia. I may ask, but why do you look so different in your picture? My picture is different because this form is my original form. That one, pointing at Hestia's picture for the, guild, is my second, weaker form. I was returned to my original status by my child here. And you, sir? I'm Bel Cranel. I'm a Hylian. I came overseas to find the goddess Hylia, and I did. So I'm staying here to become an adventurer when she said she's staying here. I see. So you're Bel? No, it's not Bel Cranel. It's Bel... Sheikah... No. It's Bel... It was not Sharingan, it was not... Tsukuyomi. There it is. Bel... Sugar... Fuck. I immediately forgot it. Bel... Eternal... Bel Tsukuyomi. I'm a Hylian. Aina looked up in confusion after that. It's a retry. A Hylian, but I thought you were an elf. Or half-elf. No, I'm a Hylian. Bel showed his, ears. These are not elf ears, these are Hylian ears. I think you do have a record of Hylians in your books. Aina pulled up a race book from overseas and found the history of Hylians. Them being the first race to be blessed by goddess Hylia way back then. And then human came along after him. Something happened. So yeah, it tells about everything else, and Bel explained that he wanted also to train in Valis for, his rubies into Valis. After after Aina and Misha left to find the book and finding it, but they have to get permission from a upper staff member to get it. It was the red-haired fox that came back with them as well. Bel and Hylia introduced himself to her. And Bel gave around a, let's say, 15,000 rupees because Bel couldn't use it. He spent 15,000, in the places where he could, but couldn't spend anymore, so he had to help villagers out. He couldn't spend rupees there, because he needed Valis or any other money. So Bel gave over 15,000 rupees, and I think an apple in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is and an apple is I think an apple is 2 rupees. I think, yeah, the most I would say the money is 15,000 rupees is like uh 5 or 750,000 rupee. Well, but no, 750,000 values after, well, that money. Bell split it up with, well, his goddess. Bell getting around 50,000 values in a bank account. He sent 725 into a bank account. No, he sent the 700,000 values into the guild familia vault, or a bank account, with Bell taking 25,000, with Hylia doing the same. So after the whole exchange and Bell getting registered and Aina suggesting that he should come here and get, well, lessons about the dungeon, when Bell and Hylia left for, well, the bar, or shit, fertility, I forgot the rest of the name, but the hostess of fertility, there it is. They went to the hostess of fertility like 2 hours later of registering everything and the changes. But when they were walking out, they heard some hurried footsteps down the hall when they turned around. Wait a minute! The fat elf of the guild, I forgot his name. The fat elf of the leader of the guild stopped in front of them, shocking the 3 girls that was, well, standing by. Lord Uranus wanted to talk to you. Post haste. Uranus? Well, that's an interesting name I haven't heard. So he is still here. Hylia smiled and followed the fat elf down the corridor, with Bell following behind. The guild leader tried to stop Bell, but Bell informed him, Goddess Hylia is mostly valuable in Hyrule. If she is, well, slain or returned to or heaven, as you call it, I will be punished by my king. So her protection is my and yours life. The fat elf understands afterwards, and they went into a black hallway and into a room where a throne was lit up by 4 torches where an old man sat upon it. Bell, feeling the power of this god, kneeled down in front of him and behind Hylia. The man opened his eyes and looked down at, well, Hestia. Hylia. Sweet girl, you are alive again. Hello, Grandpa Uranus. I think Uranus is a Greek god, or a primordial god, like he's the father of Kronos, and Kronos is the father of Hestia. Yeah, so I think Hestia is, yeah, she is the grandson of Uranus. So Hestia greets her grandfather. It's a long time since I've seen you in this form. The last time was before I fell. You were still in your temple. Those days were quite depressing for me. Seeing my children battle over and over again didn't bring me joy to leave my temple. I see, but it seems that your children, after those 100 years of calamity, has made them prosperous. Indeed, Bel here is a Sheikah of the royal family. He has told that the king and queen has, killed the last the last danger of demise, for what he could tell. You're saying your brother is almost gone? Yes, my brother is almost gone. But how much I do not know anymore. That is great news. Well then, I should not keep you here any longer. I just felt your power, dear child. Hylia did a bow with her, bowing in front and walking back. As we meet again, Uranus. As we shall, Hylia. And I do remind you, Loki is here. Hylia stopped and smiled back at, Uranus. Don't worry. I do have a treat for that mischief god, or goddess. She smiled and walked forward with Bel following her with confusion in his eyes. After walking out of, the room, Bel asked, Hylia? Yes, Bel. Why did you sound weird back there, talking about Goddess Loki? For what I understand, she is the strongest. Well, sorry about that. Well, my dear child, the reason is that I have a kind of a loving relationship with Loki back then, before I fell and, met my husband. Bel looked at her for a moment and said, You are in a relationship with a goddess and a mortal at the same time. Well, no and yes. Before I first fell down below to rescue you Hylians, me and Loki had a, let's say, falling out. She didn't wanted me to involve me in my brother's chaos, but I couldn't let you children die, so I fell, and we hadn't been a speaking terms. I could speak to the other gods from heaven, but Loki never answered. I fell in love with the man I call my husband. The only man I have fallen for. And the only man I will fall for. Same with Loki. The only woman I will fell in love with was her. After I returned, I couldn't feel love after I sacrificed my love to be reincarnated as Zelda. So, you are saying my strained relationship with Loki evolved into a kind of rivalry. I and her knew that we were once lovers. Both of them stepped out of the corridor of the guild and walked outside to walk down the, pathways. Walking down the street. I would not answer out here. Okay then. Belle walked beside her, and after some few hours, they reach a, hostess of fertility where they spotted Seer walking out. Freya in disguise again, by the way. Ah, you came! It's so glad to meet you again, Goddess Hylia. It's great to meet you again, Seer. Both of them was led inside and was seated at the bar, where Mamma Mia introduced herself and Belle paid for the food for her goddess. Belle and, his goddess. After some few moments of, giving them food and everything else, Belle and Hylia talking a little, Belle, when Mamma Mia came back to fill up a cup for him, he asked a question for her. Do you mind? Do you have a waitress here? Yes, I do. Good. I have many. What do you need? There is a waitress called Ryu Lion, right? What do you need from her? Oh, it's not me specifically. But I have a delivery for her. An old acquaintance sent something. Mamma Mia looked with suspicion and said, "You can follow me. I don't want you to do anything to my girls." Belle nodded and followed her inside to the kitchen and into a break room that was behind some doors where Ryu was sitting eating some food. Ryu looked up in surprise with Mamma Mia walking in with a boy. Do whatever you need to do. Ryu looked confused when Belle walked forward. You must be Miss Ryu, right? Yes. How can I help you, Mr. Cranel? Belle. My name is Belle. On my road here to Aurario, I have run into a old acquaintance of yours. And she has sent some few items for you. Acquaintance? There's only one, or a few I remember outside. Why do you ask? And what did they send me? Belle took a letter out from his, inside of his, shirt and handed the letter over to Ryu. Ryu taking the letter and spotted, this is Astria's logo. Your goddess sent it. I helped her a few months ago. She have given me a lot and asked this simple question. This simple request afterwards. Handing a letter to her last old familia. Ryu looked surprised and looked at the letter. She have told me what's inside of it. When you get to that part, please understand that your goddess wants the best. If you don't want to, you don't have to accept. Belle bowed and thanked Mamma Mia to walk out, and Mamma Mia stood there when Ryu opened the letter. After reading for 5 minutes, Ryu shed some tears and started to sob when Mamma Mia walked over to read the letter. It was a greeting from Astrius, saying that she was doing fine after and had made a new familiar. Made a new familia outside of Auraria. Her and her girls has been there for a few years when Belle arrived and wanted to go to Auraria. She informed Ryu that Belle and his goddess, if she's there, has moved into the Starlight Garden. She also wrote that she forgave Ryu after understanding that the words that she gave could understand that she will abandon her. It was for her to release the judgment of her familia, or the justice that they had, so she could not die. So she sent this letter to Belle and Hylia, so if she wanted, she could become a member of the familia. A vial of Astrian. They both did the fucking Minotaur name and the goddess names sounds familiar. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing and saying it wrong. It had some of the goddess's blood inside of a vial that Belle has. So if she wants to switch, she can do it. And she will not be offended. But come and visit her. Belle has a gift from the girls as well. So if she accepted, Belle could give the gift from her new familia to her. Mamma Mia looked at Ryu and put a hand on her shoulder. This is your call, girl. You're not mad? Why should I? This is an opportunity you can take again and live your life. I still want you to work here sometimes, and I think that Hylia goddess is a quite sweet goddess. Thank you, Mamma Mia. No problem, Ryu. And if you do join them, please, try to move on. I will try. Ryu put the note down, and Mamma Mia allowed her to go up to her room and think about it. After some few hours of being there, Hylia and Belle left the pub and walked down the street towards Starlight Garden. Walking in and seeing why it was called that, the flowers were blooming like stars in the night. Hestia smiled and bent down to hold one of the flower heads in her hand. These flowers are very beautiful. I understand why Astria. It's Astria. Shit, sorry. Now I know why Astria called it the Starlight Garden. I understand as well, goddess. She smiled and looked at Belle, walking into the house, and Belle showed her to, Astria's old room. Belle found a unoccupied room that wasn't taken beforehand and took that as his own. It's been 2 days since Belle gave the letter to Ryu. He's right now in the walking back from the lessons with Aina, understanding floor 1 to 5. Belle explaining that he could, in his physical form now, could be a lower level 3 or a high level 2 in power. Aina didn't believe him, but Belle explained that he is a Sheikah. But she has to keep that off the record. A Sheikah is a defense force for the Hylian family, or Hyrule's royal family. He has been training for many years, and he has killed, weak monsters with just one punch so literally killed a red goblin, just slamming his palm up into its head. And it takes a few hits with a sword, but a palm is still fucking powerful. So Belle could believe he could take floor 1 to 5 easily, without any help and just without weapons. Aina, listening to his explanation what he is, allowed him to, when he's allowed to go to the dungeon, go down to floor 7, but only to check at that point. Belle was walking back from the lessons with a notebook he has on hand, still wearing his civilian Sheikah outfit. Walking over to the gate of the house, seeing Ryu standing outside of it. Ah, Miss Ryu. Ryu looked surprised and looked at Belle. You have your answer, do you not? Yes, and I would like to accept. Goddess Hylian is inside. I will show you in. Or you could have just walked in. It is still your house. Ryu nodded and both of them walked into the front lawn or pathway up to the house. Walking in, Ryu could still some things were the same, but things has been changed in a few days. I think Goddess Hylia is in a office. A few rooms we had to move around. And we did do something for you, so you could honor your friends. Ryu looked confused and both of them walked up to, up to the second floor. And then walks up. In my version, the Starlight Garden is 3 stories high. The lower floor is where the kitchen, the common rooms, some few storage room where food or things could be. Then there's the basement where they could have some food there and everything else. Upstairs is the sleeping quarters, and then on the last floor, the kind of attic, there is a library where Astri's old office were. And Hestia has taken over that. Belle walking into the library with Ryu following, looking around trying to spot something that Belle could think was her friends. It is nostalgic for you, isn't it? Yes. That do sounds right. They walked over to the door and Belle entered with Hylia doing some few paperworks. Oh, Belle. Ah, Ryu. You must be her, right? Yes. I'm Ryu Lion, the Gale Wind. Hylia stood up and walked around the table and walked over to Ryu, grabbing her fist and looked into her eyes. You are still pained, child. I still feel that my friends will jump out. I understand. Grief is a powerful thing, even for gods. But sometimes, grief can help you move on. Do you have your answer? I would like to join your familia. Please. Of course. That means that I have to appoint a captain and vice captain, though. Ryu looked at Belle when he said, "Oh hell no, I'm not a captain." Ryu looked confused. I may be your first child, but I am not good with that. Hell, I was mostly a servant for the royal family. I've never been a captain in my life. I've given order to guards, but that's mostly it. I'm no captain. Maybe I could do some vice captain duties, but maybe not. I don't know how to do captain duties either. Maybe I have to decide it and another day. Maybe not now. I believe that the Hylian family would send some people to us. Belle says that he looked at Hylia. I will guess it will take a few months to arrive here. But I believe that if you stayed, I will stay. But I think my friends would come along at one point. Are you truly sure? It's a huge maybe. If they're not gonna come and stay here, maybe we have to find someone that can be a captain. I'm certainly not gonna be one. But I still have to appoint a captain. After some few moments of silence, Belle sighs. Temporary? I cannot have temporary captains. Permanently? Yes. That doesn't... I can take up the vice captain role then. Yeah, that can probably work. Belle sighs and walked out of the room. You can give her blessings. I will be at the stairs. Hylia nodded and Ryu turned around to show her bear bag to Hylia. After some few moments, and Hylia putting Astria's blood on, Ryu's back, and changing it from her to her, from Astria to Hylia, Ryu's status was updated and she was given, "Congratulations, you are high level 5. What? Ryu grabbed her papers and looked at it. Seeing that she has been a high level 5. Well, no, she's almost at high level 5. She's not high, she's mostly at the end of the middle part of level 5. This is... Yes. Your past I saw it. You deserve this, but I will not announce it to the guild yet. You are still banned from the dungeon. Correct? Yes. Maybe I could do some few things, but that would put me indebted with her. I could see what I can do. Ryu put back on her shirt and walked out, but still bowed at Hestia. Thank you very much. It's no problem, my child. Ryu smiled and walked over to the stairs and met Belle. So, you're ready to see the thing we made? I want to see what you have done to respect my familia members. They walked down into the second floor and walked down the hallway. Ryu looked a little confused when they walked over to an old, hangout place where they could be at. This is the old room of... Before she could say anything, Belle opened it and she saw a mannequin with a familiar armor set on it. That is... She walked in and looked at it with... another set standing beside it. And then around the room with the name in front. This is Alice's. She looked at every single one of the armor sets that was inside and some civilian clothes that was... No, it was just the armor set that was on it, with a replica weapon made out of wood standing beside it. Your goddess your goddess and her family have created these weapons to honor them. So, they asked me to do this for her. It's amazing. They were heroes. You know this, and I certainly do. Ryu looked at him and bowed. Thank you for honoring my friends. It's no problem. They still have to be respected. After Ryu smiled at Belle for thanks, Belle explained that they have cleaned out, the rest of the rooms, but they still have the item and the clothing in another room where Ryu could walk inside. Ryu thought about using some of the items inside to make a new outfit for her, but haven't decided on how. Belle explained that his room is the one that was not occupied. Belle showing it, and Ryu just said, "That was my old room." Belle looked at it and looked back at her. Oh. Sorry. She smiled and said it was fine, and walked over to another door. Belle could see it was Alice's old room. Belle saw her walk inside and said she will take this one. After Ryu moved in, she went off to the hostess of fertilities to do her work again. Belle just studied upstairs with the books and everything else. When Hestia walks out with a letter. Can you send this to Freya? Yeah, sure, I can send it to her. Why? I know I've asked a lot. Giving the house up was one of them. But I need a favor to get Ryu's identity changed. Or make sure that the Galewind is gone. But what I understand, no one actually, most people have never seen her face. That is understandable. Belle walked outside and called down a eagle or a... Belle has 2 hawks, by the way. Belle called the last one he has in Orario down and sent it off to, well, Freya, for what he understood where she was. After the bird flew off, Belle tended to his horse and made sure it was cleaned, and took it out to just move it around, to move the horse around a little more. After doing that and sitting the horse back, Belle went around the courtyard and started to, well, do his training. Not the actual training, because he still has to set that up. After some few, after 2 hours of training, Belle walks inside to see Goddess Hylia saying that they are going to the Hostess of Fertility again. Are you sure? We've been there 3 times already. We've been there all day, all the previous days. I know. And I know we have some food, but we are not ready to prepare it. What about the wines you bought? Some of them are very special. Don't touch the bottles that has A on it. Those are special kind of bottles. Special kind of bottles? Yes. Don't touch them. Sure, Goddess. Won't touch bottle A's. Thank you. Hylia walks out with Belle following behind. After arriving at the Hostess of Fertility, Seer, this time Horn by the way, not actual Freya, sat them down at a table with, Ryu taking their order. They were still sitting at the same bar when a woman walked in greeting Mamma Mia. Heyo, Mamma Mia! Hylia picked up at the voice and smiled a little, with Belle looking confused. Oh, Loki! What brings you here without your familia? They're still in the dungeon? Yeah, and I'm getting kinda bored. I still can't see my icy poo. Ah, that is a real shame for you, Loki. Don't do that. Loki just sat down at the end of the bar. Sat in the middle of the bar, just looking at Mamma Mia and talking to her. When Hylia stood up after 10 minutes, walking over behind Loki and leaning down towards her ear without Loki noticing, but Mamma Mia did. I'm still kinda sad. Why should you? Loki stopped at that moment with highly frightened, but Belle could see a good kind of look in it, like happiness to hearing that voice, but still sadness and terrifying. Loki turned around to see Hylia while standing there smiling at Loki. Hylia? Yes. How are you? It's a long story that I don't think it's appropriate to be here. Loki looked at her and looked around, then spotted Bell and spotted his outfit. Loki, in the previous years, before coming down, has checked on Hyrule and has seen, well, Belle's outfit. That's a Sheikah. That means... Yeah, probably, we should... You can follow me to my house. I will explain everything there. Both of them stood up and left the bar with each other. Loki have a frightening look, but still hopeful look in her eyes, with Heidi having a more happier tone to it. Belle looked at him walking out, with him looking back at Mamma Mia. Can I get these dishes to go? I think I need to go back before anything happens that I don't regret walking into. Sure thing, kid. Mamma Mia quickly packed the food up for him, and Belle left towards his familiar home. After arriving and hearing some yell, kind of high talking, walked into the room to see Loki looking angry and pissed, but still happy and frightened, but still, Hylia was still smiling. You're telling me that you were just gonna... What? Isn't that obvious? No! For fuck's sake, it's almost been so many years at this point since you returned to your own body. You've been at shrimp form for so long. I know. And you're doing that again. My tone. Your happy, cutesy voice. Hylia was standing in front of Loki, well, leaning in front and just smiling. You're not happy. I thought I looked better. Loki looked up and down at Hylia and just blushed a little. That's not the point! You can't just come back and saying that shit! Why not? That's... You're not Loki turned around and grabbed her, well, putting her hands over her eyes and just going her hands down her face. You can't just say that and not expect anything from it. How so? Well, you can't... Belle stood there just... Yeah, I'm kind of happy I walked in on this, nothing else. Hylia spotted Belle and just... Belle, do you mind grabbing something from the cellar from me? What, Goddess Hylia? Do you mind grabbing the A bottle I told you not to touch? Yeah, sure, I can grab the wine for you. I just need to put the food away. Belle put the food into the kitchen and walks downstairs towards the bottle and grabbed the one that he saw was started with an A. But then he read what it actually was. Aphrodisiac wine. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the house if this happens. Belle walks upstairs with the bottle and... well, and 2 bottles on a, well, serving plate. And put it on and fill the glass up. And put the bottle, well, the wine flask on the table. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I'm gonna go to the dungeon at night. I'm not gonna stay here. Wait, what? Come on, Loki, take a drink. I'm quite worried about that tone, Hylia. What? Not gonna hurt you. Yeah. Sure. Grabbing the bottle, but Belle didn't know what happened afterwards and warned Ryu at the hostess of not returning home. Belle spent, well, a few hours in the dungeon of the night and spent the night at the host of its fertility as well. Returning home, well, him and Ryu returning home in the morning found Loki and Hestia. Well, yeah, it is Hestia. Loki and Hylia in the kitchen with ruffled hair and, well, Loki wearing one of what Belle could see, one of Hylia's shirts over her body, with Hylia having a morning robe on her. So, can I expect that you two had fun? Belle says as he looks at the two goddesses, with Hylia smiling at her with a glow around her, and Loki just looked at him. What's your name, kid? I didn't get it last night. Oh, it's Belle Tsukuyomi. I am a royal Sheikah from the Hylian family. Oh shit, the Hylian family is still alive? Yes. Sorry about that. Yes, they are. Well, lucky for them. After some few seconds, you also spotted Ryu and recognized her. Oh, Gelwind. Didn't expect you to see you back here. Yes, Goddess Loki. So, you're not gonna talk about this, right? Loki says as she looks at Belle and Ryu. Both of them looked at each other and looked back at Loki. It's your damn relationship. I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm gonna follow my captain and saying, yeah, your relationship, we're not gonna interfere. Good. And Hylia, please don't, let me drink aphrodisiacs again. And that was a good prank. I thought it was apple wine. Oh. If you're gonna act like that, I'm gonna use it more. And this is the time we gonna say don't do it in the kitchen. Please. For the love of you, don't say it. Hylia looked at him with a smile and just, of course. Don't worry about it, Belle. Now, children, please sit. I have made some food. Both of them sat down and ate up afterwards, and Belle, saying goodbye to Hylia and Loki that still stayed there, went to the guild. Oh, right. Belle snuck into the dungeon, just the first floor, nothing else. Went to the guild and reported to Aina what happened. Her getting mad, but Belle explaining why he went into the dungeon. Because he had nothing to do, he didn't want to go home, and yeah, that was mostly it. Aina just sighed and asked for the crystals, Belle giving around 100 crystals in his bag, getting around, I will say, like, sorry about that. I will say Belle got around 5,500 valors for that. Remember, it's still the upper floor, so they won't get that much money. After Belle, well, got his study session on, this is gonna be an interesting time. 2 weeks afterward, a week after the incident, Belle was on this 5th floor cutting down some monsters with his palms, and was just rushing down to get to the 10th floor. He was recommended to go to the 10th floor to get his stats up, for Aina to allow him down into the more floors before he could do anything else. Belle was rushing through, killing monsters and grabbing their crystals with his 2 weapon, the normal Sheikah weapon and a big ass katana that can make wind from Breath of the Wild. Yeah, the weapons got fixed up in the overworld. So Belle was rushing through the dungeon, killing monsters which way he found them. And after some few moments, a big hand reached out from a hallway that Belle dodged under and just, slided on his knees away from him. By the way, he's wearing his Sheikah armor with the cloak on, and cloak and mask with the hood. Belle has a hood that he pulls over his head, so it's more not recognized in the dungeon. Belle dodges away from the big hand and stops, a little bit away from him. It was a minotaur, and Belle just looked at it with a interested look. Well, let's see how you are doing in the fight then. Belle looked at the minotaur and it looked back at him. Belle rushed forward to, slam his fist into it, with the minotaur trying to do the same when a sword pierced from behind, confusing both of them, with the sword just cutting up the minotaur, making it splatter over Belle. Never mind. Belle's outfit at this point was covered in blood when the crystal fell from the minotaur into Belle's hand when he grabbed the stone. Belle looked up to see error. Belle has been stopped for a moment because he saw a fucking pretty girl. Probably a year or probably a few months older than him. But this woman, this girl, was just gorgeous for him. Like, Belle stopped that thought for coming up and just looked at her when she looked back. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I didn't get hit. Belle walked forward and tried to give the crystal to the woman. Here, I don't need it. Keep it. I interrupted you for attacking it, and it is an apologize for it almost hurting you. Belle looked at her with a surprising look and nodded, putting the crystal away, and walked down a hallway. We switched to eyes that looked at the guy that was walking down the hallway, with her realizing she didn't actually apologize correctly. Her trying to, run after him to actually apologize, but Beat interrupted her, laughing at Belle. That guy was covered like a tomato! Ice just pouted and walked away from him. Not wanted to talk to Beat after that. And that is where I'm gonna end this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Good morning, goodbye, farewell, see you later, have a wonderful, wonderful time. And if you guys are up to it, I have a Q&A post where you can leave questions for the Q&A video I want to make. When it reaches 20 questions, you can leave 2 questions. I would answer. I would answer all the questions I can in the video, but please read the rules. You can leave 2 questions about video games, about anything else, but not what the rules say you're not supposed to. The next week, sorry. Next week's vote is up. Please go vote. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. Comment is the most wanted one. Good morning, goodbye, farewell, see you later. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, my blue masks. Bye-bye.